This is a story about courage, determination, persistence, strength, and the changing of American history.
The 400th anniversary of the first enslaved Africans brought to Virginian shores. It's part of our Hidden History series. For years, it was believed that they were first brought to Jamestown. But our Kara Dixon introduces us to one resident who worked to show that the first Africans were brought to Point Comfort in Hampton and how that changed American history.
Looking at this marker reminds me of 25 years of struggle, 25 years to tell the true story of those first Africans.
Meet Calvin Pearson. Calvin Pearson is the founder of Project 1619. Calvin and his team spent over 25 years uncovering the true first landing of Africans in America. We were taught the first Africans arrived in Jamestown, Virginia on slave ships in 1619. That has now been proven to not be true. So what happened? John Rolfe, husband of Pocahontas, served as secretary to the colonial Virginia and reported to the Virginia Company of London. He wrote a letter to the Virginia Company of London dated August 1619. In that letter, he reported 20 and odd Negroes were brought by a Dutch ship to the shores of Point Comfort, Virginia. During this time, Portuguese was under the rulership of the King of Spain. They had established a colony in Angola. The Portuguese were transporting the Africans from Angola to Veracruz, Mexico. The Africans were going to work in the silver mines for the remaining of their lives. The Portuguese slave ship was attacked by two pirate ships, the White Lion and the Treasurer, and they took their cargo. These 20 and odd Africans were traded for food. 2 of these 20 and odd Africans were transported to Jamestown, Virginia. This is how Jamestown became involved.
If these shores could talk, the stories would be as endless as the drops in the ocean.
2 of those first Africans were Isabella and Antony. They became servants in the household of Captain William Tucker, and in 1623 they gave birth to the first documented African child born in English-occupied North America.
Pearson is the founder of Project 1619, a group that's worked for decades trying to tell this story. He says that the arrival brought so much more than we understand, a rich culture and knowledge that helped a struggling Jamestown survive, despite all the odds against them.
We know the history of those first Africans. We know that many of them were eventually freed. And right here in Hampton today, we have ancestors or descendants from those original ancestors.
It took Calvin and his team over 25 years to change American history?
Well, one of the great pleasures of this job, but also one of my responsibilities, is making sure that we are preserving our nation's treasures so that they can be enjoyed by our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren. And over the years, over 100 sites have been set aside as national monuments, everything from the Statue of Liberty to the Grand Canyon. So today, I am continuing that proud tradition by adding another monument to the list. Fort Monroe in Hampton, Virginia, has played a remarkable role in the history of our nation. It was the site of the first slave ships to land in a new world. But during the Civil War, almost 250 years later, Fort Monroe also became a refuge for slaves that were escaping from the South and helped create the environment in which Abraham Lincoln was able to sign that document up there, the Emancipation Proclamation. In September, Fort Monroe closed its doors as a military base. But thanks to the advocacy of some outstanding citizens and historians and elected officials who are represented here, as well as the great work of our Department of the Interior and Ken Salazar and all the people who've been involved in making this day possible, we are going to continue this legacy, making Fort Monroe a national monument.
The question still remains, were these Africans slaves or were they indentured servants? I applaud Calvin and his team for their hard work, their research, and their dedication and persistence to change American history, to keep fighting for the right to be heard as a people. That's why I study history, because there are a lot of things that are incorrect when it comes to our history. Fort Monroe has a diverse history spanning from the first arrival of enslaved Africans, a safe haven for freedom seekers during the American Civil War. Many presidents of the United States have visited Fort Monroe. President Abraham Lincoln stayed as a guest in quarter number 1 during his visit in May of 1862. There is just so much history on these shores. I spent 3 days here, and I still don't know it all. There's so much history. When I research history, I read about the good, bad, and the ugly. See, history should never be dominated. History belongs to everyone. History is humble. It does not seek to impress or to take gain. It is based on events that occurred. Now, although the first Africans were documented writing in 1619, that does not mean that melanated people were not already here.